couple minutes. We got a lot of people coming up and calling our office, parking in downtown Atlanta. So it's pretty, we give them a few minutes. The room will fill in, and it's going to fill in with a standing room only in the back. So if you guys want to come up and grab seats up front, you guys are welcome to. Leave some of those back seats for the late bloomers. Hopefully not the late bloomers, but the late bloomers. I'm going to get started going over some stuff before these guys get here. Yeah, what's up, man? On the throne.
Come on, man. You took my seat, man. Oh, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, I know.
Cool. I'm going to get started out of respect for you guys this time. We've got a lot of people down in the lobby that are finding their way up right now looking for parking. How many people are from, born, and live right here in Atlanta? Raise your hands. How many of you guys are born? 4 of you guys? That's it? Where's everybody else from? Who came the furthest today? Who drove the furthest today? The airport. You drove to the airport? Taking some real challenges. I think you guys came to late. Yeah. California. Okay, California? Seems like all from California today, right? Are you here on vacation? Yeah. Okay. Cool. How many of you guys just found my websites and our social presence this last week when we started advertising? Raise your hands. I want to see how my marketing dollars are doing. Okay, cool. Good. They're working. Now, for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Jerome Maldonado. It will give me the authority to speak up here today about building houses and building multifamily, as I've been doing it for about 28 plus years. I started out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, building 28 years ago, after about a 5-year hiatus in multi-level marketing. Multi-level marketing gave me a strong foundation in sales, and I got into construction on accident. How many of you guys have no experience in real estate whatsoever? Okay. How many people have no construction experience whatsoever? How many people have no construction and no real estate experience? Okay, a few of you guys. Okay, cool. You guys are still in the right spot. When I got started, I had no construction experience. In fact, the gentleman sitting right here in the back corner right here came out to Albuquerque, and when I started pouring concrete, we were all out of multi-level marketing. Darren actually lives down in Calhoun, Georgia. And it was cool because we were all disarrayed because we got shut down by the FTC, and the company grew too fast. There was a lot of ethics issues and stuff that were happening with the company. And when the FTC shut us down, we were all making like over 20 grand a month and just went to zero overnight in 1997. And so for a year, we were just trying to find what we were going to do. And back in 1998, I opened up a little concrete company. I didn't know nothing about concrete, and I got into construction knowing absolutely nothing. But we did about $1.2 million in revenue that very first year. And then after that, we took that capital, and the very next year, 1999, we started building houses. And the houses landed up being the most profitable and most lucrative part of everything that we did for over a decade. When the 2008 recession hit, and we were also building retail centers. And those retail centers almost put me out of business in 2009 because of how many of them we had under construction, what we were doing in real estate. And at that point in time, I landed up learning a ton of really cool shit about real estate. Because I was in a very unfortunate circumstance. We didn't lose any buildings. We didn't lose any real estate. In fact, the homes, how many of you guys worked through the 2008 recession? Okay, so you guys will remember this. It wasn't until about October, November of 2008 that the recession really set in. And that was when a Bank of Oklahoma called me and they said, we're stopping your funding unless you can produce the leases signed with estoppels. Estoppels are like affirmation that the leases still exist. So you had to go back to every tenant and get estoppels to get them to sign these forms saying, yes, I'm still going to move into this building. We went to zero tenants overnight on 2 buildings, guys. Zero. We had a tire shop that was supposed to go in there. We had a little grocery store that was supposed to go in one of our buildings. We had a brake clips that was supposed to go in. We had a Subway store that was supposed to go in. We went to 0 tenants, guys, overnight. We couldn't get any estoppel signed. So Bank of Oklahoma said, no more, we're cutting you off. We're not funding the rest of the bill. So we were about $300,000 short. Thank God we were almost done. So I just funded it to get the building done. We had another project that we were doing that we had just finished. Thank God we had finished that one. And that one went to zero. We had no tenants in it. And then we had another building that we were going to do, was 38,000 square feet. It was a little $8 million bill that we were doing back then. And the other branch of the exact same bank was pushing me to go. And I said, well, shit, this branch right here is telling me don't go. This branch is trying to push me to go. So I halted on it. That land that I was using for that office condos back in 2008, we're barely building on it right now, guys. But we're not building office condos on it. You know we're building on it right now? Anybody guess? Multifamily. Guys, at the time that there's a housing crisis, it's the multifamily game that is actually stimulating a lot of the economic growth in real estate. But even multifamily is crushed right now. How many of you guys know what a cap rate is? How many of you guys know what a cap rate is? Okay? How many of you guys know how to figure out how to retain a cap rate from nothing? Well, you do, because you know, because you're part of my program. So, right. Anybody else? Anybody else that knows how to figure out a cap rate? Okay. Nobody? Okay. Here's the thing, guys. This is the most important formula you'll ever have. You know, you guys go and you get girls, they'll tattoo Chinese letters down the back of their neck, and they'll tattoo like Chinese letters on their arms. You guys can go in and tattoo this, okay? Value equals net operating income divided by cap rate. Okay? Now, one of the things we're going to talk about today is I'm going to talk about multifamily. How many of you guys are here for multifamily? Raise your hand if you're here for multifamily. Okay? How many of you guys want to build houses? Raise your hands. Okay? How many of you guys want to do both? Okay? Everybody with a multifamily needs to raise their hand because everybody, if it's anybody in real estate, needs to get into multifamily. Here's why, guys. I'm going to start off today with where we're going to end because I want you guys to understand as we're actually going through this, what the end goal is. Because the multifamily sector and multi-unit real estate is where you're going to save on taxes. In fact, you don't pay no taxes if you do it right. And you're able to go in and take advantage of the passive residual income that comes in from multifamily. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you guys to participate today. Is it okay if I ask you guys to participate? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one of the biggest things that I'm going to do today is I'm going to make sure you guys are involved. You guys are going to pull out your phones, and you guys are going to use your calculators all day today. Now, one of the big things when people come out to see us is they don't realize how much value that they're going to receive from what I'm going to do up here. And one of the biggest things that I do when I come out and I give it to you guys for free is I'm going to give you guys underwriting content that you can utilize forever. One of the biggest reasons that most people fail in real estate is because they don't know how to underwrite real estate. And the real truth is if they knew how to underwrite real estate, it would prevent about 99% of you ever losing money in real estate. To this day, there's never been a year that we haven't bought something or sold something. And we do it redundantly all the time. Usually month over month, sometimes weeks over weeks, we're buying and selling different pieces of real estate for different reasons. Most of it is single family homes. And the thing from 1998 to today, we've lost $0 on any project that we've ever done, even the retail centers. Because at the time that we were doing the retail centers, I filled it with Subway stores. I went and became a franchisee with Subway. I became one of the largest Subway franchisees in southern Colorado and central New Mexico for a decade. And we did it as a ploy to be able to fill the real estate that was completely empty. We also opened up beauty salons. If you guys have seen the beauty supply company called Trends with a Z, and it's the purple logo, that was my company. I started that. We had beauty salons. We started a little beauty supply company. We sold it to the actual girls that were in our salons, and we just wanted to retain the leases. So when we ended up selling off all of those, plus the Subway stores, we had filled buildings, and we were able to sell it based on this formula right here, guys. Based on the value of that asset and the leases that we retained. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now, the same concept that happens with commercial real estate and retail happens with multifamily. And the biggest thing that you have to understand is that everything is manipulated by two variables. One is income. That's your net operating income. The other is cap rate. Interest rates affect cap rate because, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a cap rate that is lower than the debt you have to service, you'll lose that property. Does that make sense? Because the cap rate is equivalent to, like in the stock market. Let's say you buy stock in Intel, and let's say that stock in Intel pays you an annual return of 6%. That's the equivalence of a cap rate for real estate. It's your return on investment provided you pay cash for that asset. It's the percentage of return that you make on that asset. So if you go in and you're making a 3% return on your investment, you can't pay a 6% mortgage. Does that make sense? What happened to interest rates in 2000, guys? They were real low, right? What happened to interest rates in 2000, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, how low? What did they go in 2000? 2%, 3%? On average, about 3%, right? So if we go in, and this is 2020, interest rates were about 3%. Where are they today? 6 to 7? In January, the debt coverage ratio that banks were looking at was at 6.5%. In June, they were 7.5%. Now we just went back down to 6.5%, which means that when you're going out and you're buying an asset, the banks are looking at how much debt coverage that the revenue can bring in to pay for that actual asset. And so in 2025, right now, they're underwriting it at a 6.5% debt coverage ratio, meaning that you have to have a minimum of a 6.5% cap rate in 2025 to be able to finance a property. Now, here's what happens, guys. I want you guys to understand this before we get into building houses real quick. Now, you own an apartment complex. Let's say you have like a 10, 12, 15 unit apartment complex. And let's say that that apartment complex brings in $200,000 a year in revenue. And after you pay all the expenses, the property taxes, the insurance, you guys pay all of the site maintenance, the landscaping, the blowing, the cleaning, the light bulbs, the clogged toilets, your administrative staff, the management fees, all of the expenses. Let's say that you have about $120,000 left after all expenses. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we have $120,000 left. That's your net income. That's your NOI in $120,000. Okay? Now, we go in, and if we plug in this cap rate of 3%, ladies and gentlemen, pull out your phones. What is $120,000 divided by 3%? What is it? 4 million? 400. Not 4 million dollars, right? Equals $4 million. 120,000 divided by 3%. $4 million. Okay? Same asset, guys. Same asset. The walls are the same. 2025. The floors are the same. The tenants are the same. Rents have probably even went up a little bit. But let's say that they didn't. Let's say they stayed exactly the same. And let's say that we have the exact tenants, the exact rents, the same occupancy. Maybe we were at 95, 97% occupancy in 2020. We have the exact same occupancy today. Nothing has changed. The income is the same. The only thing that changes is one thing. It's the cap rate. It's the debt coverage ratio. At 6.5%, if we go in at 6.5%, guys, what is that same $120,000 divided by a 6.5% cap rate? $1.8 million. Do you guys realize that there's $2.7 trillion that's going to come to the open market over the next 2 years based on this right here if we don't fix what's happening in multifamily and in commercial real estate in general, guys? And so the value of an asset to a bank, if you went back in 2020, the value of that asset was $4 million. The reason it's coming back to the banks is because how the hell do you finance a $4 million building when it's only worth to a bank $1.8 million? You guys get it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
That's opportunity in real estate right there. Those are the type of assets that are coming to the open market. But if you're not aware of that, you know who those assets go to? They go to me. Because I'm first in line to buy it. And I know all the brokers nationwide. Seriously. And so, but the biggest thing is that you guys need to pick up the pieces because it's not just happening on institutional assets and large assets. It's also happening on the small real estate as well. Because it's not just the 100 unit, the 200 unit, the 300 unit real estate that's happening to, it's the small stuff as well. But in a time that people are trying to sell $4 million assets for $4 million and they're not selling, you're not going to buy an apartment complex with much equity in it because the banks themselves are not going to release that stuff because they themselves don't want to take a wipe on that. Even if you get rid of all the equity, the banks are still going to take a licking on that because most of the debt doesn't hold 50% of its value, and then most people weren't carrying 50% equity on those properties. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. What if you guys understood how to underwrite and build these assets where you could underwrite the cost to build and the value of the asset before you got started? How many people would love that opportunity to be able to do so, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, and that's why you're here today. You guys see what you guys' goal is right here? You see this goal right here? This is your guys' goal right here. Miami on the September 27th to 28th. That's the reason you guys are here today. You guys are going to come, you guys are going to learn. But there's only so much I can give you guys in about an hour and a half. We're going to underwrite residential real estate, and we're also going to underwrite multifamily real estate. But I can only give you so much of the underwriting in such a condensed amount of time. So what I do, guys, is I put these workshops together, and I only have the time to do 2 or 3 of these a year. And the only weekend that I have available to do this because of my son is because he has football games every single weekend, is that weekend. That's his bye weekend. It's the only weekend that I'm available. I won't be doing any further out in 2025. There'll be 0 other underwriting workshops. Our underwriting workshop in Miami on September 27th and 28th is going to give you the ability to get money, and it's going to be able to help you understand banking and lending. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, you guys ready to get into the residential part of this? Yeah?
Yes.
You guys ready? Yeah?
Yes.
Come on, guys, one more time. Who's ready to get into the underwriting for residential? Say yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, when we go in, go ahead and take a picture of that. You guys are going to need that. That's your next tattoo. Value equals NOI divided by capital. Get that shit on your arm. Okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to pretend to be anybody I'm not. I don't have to anymore. I'm up here for you guys. We built this social platform. It happened on accident, okay? And I'm going to ask you guys for your permission for me just to be me. You'll probably hear a little bit of profanity up here. I'm not going to feel bad about doing it. If you don't like profanity, you can leave. I'm just going to be me. And it's just the Jerome that Jerome's always been. I think I've earned that over the course of my life. I don't have anything more to prove to you guys. I'm already doing what I'm doing, and I'm already set in the path that I'm taking. Do I have your guys' permission to be myself? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay? Cool. Because a few cuss words will come out. I'm going to take probably some derogatory jokes, and if that's okay with you guys, I'm going to continue doing it myself. Okay, thank you. All right. Now, here's the thing, guys. When we go in and we're looking at multifamily, it all starts with being able to have a little bit of capital. And the biggest thing is positioning yourself to be able to have capital that you can utilize for equity. Now, when we come in, how many of you guys would love to be able to go out and build a house and generate strong 6 figures on every single unit that you build? Everybody, yeah? Well, it happens with a specific business model. What I want you guys to understand is that the business model that we utilize, I created it on accident, guys. I didn't do this on purpose. In fact, when I did this business model, I did it at a time that I was broke. And at a time where this business model I created truly for myself, not for you guys. This is the same business model that I've been utilizing for 28 years, and it's the same business model that I teach my kids. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so one of the biggest things is understanding what demographics we're hitting. So there's 74% of the population, and these are the median buyers, okay? These median buyers, we don't focus on them. Those are the D.R. Hortons of the world. Those are the Pulte, the Centex homes, the Lennar homes. Those are the big LGI builders. Those guys are building for the median. Does that make sense? Yeah. And they're building in volume. How many of you guys do fix and flips in here? Raise your hands. Okay. Now, I did fix and flips back when we were doing a large quantity of homes every single year. I don't do fix and flips because it's like playing Russian roulette. Guys, you fix and flippers, you guys tell me if it's the truth or not. You get a gun, you put one bullet in the chamber, right? You hit that, you hit the what's it called, the tumbler, you hit the revolver on there, and you tumble the bullet, and you just hope that fix and flip, you don't blow your brains out with it because you don't know if you're going to make money on it, right? You're trying to rush through it to make sure that you have enough time to get through it before the inspectors show up. And then all of a sudden, the electrical inspector shows up and says, "Where are your permits?" And you don't have a set of permits, and now you have to upgrade the entire electrical, and your profit of $40,000 just went down to $25,000. Yeah? How many of you guys have ever been in that position? Yeah? Yep. And so one of the biggest things is I don't fix and flip. If there was money in fix and flipping, guess what I would do? I'd fix and flip. The reason I don't fix and flip is because that shit doesn't work.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
It's a bullshit business model, guys. I know that it seems like it's a better business model. The only reason you feel that way is because you have a tangible asset. Because your mind tells you that if I can't touch it, I can't feel it, I can't see it, then it doesn't make money. And so you go buy this tangible asset that doesn't make you any money because you can touch it and feel it, and it makes you feel warm and fuzzy because you have a tangible asset sitting on that dirt, even if it doesn't make you money. The problem when you construction is most people think that it's an undertaking, but it's not, because the variables on every single bill are exactly the same, except for the dirt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, once you learn the dirt game, then everything else is all the same. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so even though you can't touch it and feel it initially, you can touch it and feel it on paper. So everything that we talk about today is going to be revolving around lenders and banks, because lenders and banks, ladies and gentlemen, are how we get financing for the land and the bill. Most people don't understand the underwriting, how banks work. So unfortunately, to your disadvantage, you don't go after it. There's contractors that are sitting here. How many of you guys are builders? They're already building homes. Raise your hand. If you're a builder, you already built homes. Anybody? One, two? Nobody? Nobody in this room built homes? Build a couple. Well, you still build some. Okay? Be one of the first rooms we've ever had with no builders in it. Okay, good. So you guys are my guinea pigs. All right? We got some chairs up here, guys. I got an empty chair here. Well, not this one. That one's taken. We got an empty chair here. I got a couple empty chairs here. Come on up here. There's going to be more people that fill in over the course of the next 15, 20 minutes. Okay, come on up. Okay, now, how many of you guys, and then before I start this, I'll just tell you, I'm not ICE, okay? I'm not going to deport you back to your origin, okay? To your country of origin. So I say that before, because I was just in El Paso, and I said this, and nobody raised their hand, not a friggin' person. And I'm like, you guys were in El Paso, the border is like 5-minute walk. And not one person raised their hand. How many of you guys are immigrants not born in this country? Raise your hand if you're an immigrant not born in this country. Holy shit. Wow, no kidding? Wow, that's awesome. Raise your hand. If you're an immigrant and you weren't born in this country. Damn, we're gonna pull some success out of Atlanta. Sir, why did you come to the United States?
To live the dream.
To live the dream. Right? How old were you when you came to the United States?
I was 47 already.
47? Did you bring your kids here?
No.
No? Brought yourself here for a better life. Who else are immigrants? You guys are immigrants? Why did you guys come to America?
They the train to
Yeah. You guys have kids? Yeah. Better place to raise your kids? Where are you guys from originally?
Honduras.
Honduras. I was just in Honduras 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, beautiful in Honduras. We'll build me a mansion out there for 500 grand. Seriously. Badass house is like, how much is that? Everything's $500,000. How much is that? $500,000. I'm like, how about that one? $500,000. I'm like, how about that big ass house right there? $500,000. I'm like, no shit. So every big house is $500,000. Like, yeah, every big house $500,000. Like, home's gonna build me a big ass house for $500,000. You know, beautiful though, beautiful Honduras. Who else, guys? Who else? Why did you come to America?
I'm a student.
You're a student? Why not stay? Why don't you study at home?
There's opportunities here.
Best opportunities here. Ladies and gentlemen, we just got the best administration that we could have gotten for the United States of America. I don't give a shit if you think that, if you guys believe in Democrat, if you guys hate me because of it, you can leave. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't affect my life one bit. But I will tell you this. We have an administration that just created some of the best bills that are available to us as U.S. Americans. This country was built on capitalism. The bullshit that's been sold to our country over the last several years is garbage, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to lay it out the way it is. I don't hate talking about politics. I'm not going to make it a political thing, but I'm going to tell you guys that America is America because of our free enterprise system and our capitalistic values that we have in the United States. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yes.
Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yes.
I see like half and half. Answer yes, guys. This is America. And in America, guys, we're a free enterprise system that we function as capitalism. What makes our country the best country in the world is that we function on free enterprise. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so the banks and institutions run our country. If you don't understand how banking works, how do you go out there and get lending? Most people don't even understand how banks work. How many of you guys have ever been to Las Vegas, Nevada? How many of you guys have ever been to Vegas or like Atlantic City and gambled in the casinos? Now, are they building those casinos because they're making no money, or they're building those billion-dollar casinos because they're making a shit ton of money. They're making a shit ton of money. And the reason that they're building those is because they have a system, guys. And that system and the processes that they use and the stats that they use bring in 4% advantage over the sedentary individuals. That 4% grosses them billions of dollars in revenue. Now, if you knew those house set of rules, how many of you guys would go to Vegas a lot more often? Well, shit, I live there, right? Now, banks work the same ways, ladies and gentlemen. How do banks make money? By lending money, right? Okay, so if banks make money by lending money, do you think that they want to find good assets to lend it to? Okay, now notice I didn't say good people to lend it to. They want good assets. How many of you guys have an 800 credit score? Raise your hand. If you have an 800 credit score. Okay? Keep your hand if you have an 800 credit score. Okay. I've never had an 800 credit score in my entire life. Okay? I use my credit like a stolen car. I beat the shit out of it. Okay? And that's just the truth. Right? I ruined my credit back, I had 460 when I started this game, guys. If you guys are sitting back thinking like, shit, can I really do this? The answer is yes, you can. Okay? Now, the reason that what we do works so well is that they're not just solely judging you yourself. What they're doing is they're looking at the asset itself. Does that make sense? 100% of real estate is asset-based, okay? Everything is asset-based. And to evaluate those assets, we use what's called comparables. They're comps, okay? Now, everything that we do is comp-based. So we go in and we start looking at these two things. These are what the banks are looking at. Now, I know those of you guys that have an 800 credit score think that they're looking at you. And the problem is, it's not really your guys' fault that you guys don't understand this. We spent 13,000 hours in an education system that was built by the Rockefellers to teach you guys how to go out and become good employees to work for the Rockefellers back in the early 1950s. Does that make sense?
Yes.
No, it doesn't. Don't make no gas sense at all. Because we live in a capitalistic country. Okay? That's why all this chaos exists, guys. Because we're taught to be slaves to someone else's company. Now, there's nothing wrong with being employed. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, what we do up here has always been a part-time business for us. Even when we were building over 50 units a year, it was a part-time business for us. To go out and build one house, guys, is a part-time business. If you show up in the morning for an hour before you go to work and you evaluate the progress of your build, and then if you spend one more hour, 5 days a week doing that, you spend 10 hours a week, you'll be better than 99% of most general contractors. Does that make sense? Okay, so everybody in here, what I tell you guys is take advantage of the opportunity and the entrepreneurial values that exist building homes so that you can take advantage of the same tax incentives that the wealthy do. But still stay at your job so that way you have income as we get this off the ground. Make sense? Okay, now, when we go in, ladies and gentlemen, 2% of homes sell to the ultra wealthy. Okay? We don't function here either. It's too high risk. This number is too small. And what happens, guys, is 24% of our population is the upper middle class. Now, this is where we function all of our revenue in the single family home game. It's right here with the upper middle class, this 24%. It's large enough and it gives you enough bandwidth where you have a lot of affluency. And when there's market compression, you don't get affected like you do right up here. These are, when you see the news, when you see CNBC, CBS, NBC, when you see the news stats that are coming out of those news stations and there's market compression, they're talking about these guys right there. Now, these guys are the ones that are responsible for 16%, for 16% of the 18% of homes that are being purchased cash money. Okay? 18% of all homes, guys, nationwide are purchased with cash. Of that 18%, 16% of them are purchased by the upper middle class. Make sense? Because these guys are our parents, they're our grandparents. They're the people that have lived in their homes for 20 years, 30 years, and they're buying these homes right here. Okay? These are the people that are the doctors, the attorneys, the lawyers. They're the people that are the scientists and the more affluent people that are living in these subdivisions. They're the ones that live in the subdivision for the better schools and for better affluency. Does that make sense? A safer place for their kids. Now, here in the Atlanta area, we typically focus on dense development right here in Atlanta. Most of you guys live just outside of the Atlanta area, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, now, where do the upper middle class go and migrate to when they move to the Atlanta area? What are the municipalities that they move to that are building new? Like, where is the largest and fastest growing areas where there's new construction that people are moving to here in Atlanta?
John Street.
Or is it John Street?
John Street.
Milton?
County.
What is it, Clark County?
Yeah.
Under Stockbridge.
Where else?
Stockbridge.
Stockbridge? Okay, what else? Where else, guys? Everything outside of 285? It's growing out there. It's just moving. Okay? Now, on these areas, what are houses selling for predominantly, ladies and gentlemen? About $1 million?
Yeah, 1.2.
No, that's not upper middle class, guys. 420 is middle class. It's right around there. Okay? Where are the 800, 900,000 $1 million homes being built?
Yeah,
Peachtree City? Okay, now, here's why I ask, guys. When we go in, I need you guys to understand something, okay? Let's say these are all $1 million homes, okay? 900,000. How many of you guys feel intimidated to go out and take on like an $850,000, $900,000 project? How many of you guys feel intimidated by that? How many of you guys feel like it would be much safer to take down like a $450,000 project to get started? How many of you guys feel like that would be better for you? Okay? All right. I'm going to ask you that same question here in about 30 minutes, okay? Okay, I'm going to ask the exact same question. How many people in here would go in and build this if you knew you had a better profit, better opportunity? Okay? Right? Okay, so here's how this works, guys. One of the things you have to understand about land, and I'm going to explain this first because I always have one heckler in the audience that's a broker that thinks they know better than I do. They don't know shit, but I just I kind of humor them because I've been doing this for so long. Land, guys, land is never more than 15 to 20% of the overall resale value of the house, okay? You never, this is the rule right here, guys. You never pay, you never pay more than 15 to 20% for the actual land, okay? So when you go in, ladies and gentlemen, that is your requirement. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter, like, I always ask, I'll go like this, how much does land cost in this area? I'll get everything from $100,000 to $500,000. Then I'll get one person that gets stuck on $500,000. I'll be like, not every piece of land is worth $500,000. Okay? There's land in every area that's more and less, right? Like I have my camera guy. My camera guy, Alan, has been behind the camera for me for the last 7 years, guys. This kid was in his young 20s when he started. He's 29 years old now. He has 2 kids and a father. The other day at my house when we were recording, I was doing this video, and I was thinking about my brother-in-law, who over the course of time, I've known my brother-in-law for 27 years, and he's built 5 houses, guys, in 27 years. One thing I know about this audience is the vast majority of you guys aren't here to get wealthy. Most of you guys know that getting wealthy isn't even really your goal. But how many of you guys are really here just for a better quality of life? Raise your hand. Can a couple $100,000 a year give your life a better quality? Yeah? Because my goals aren't your goals. So most people in here don't want to be a Jerome Maldonado. You guys don't, most people don't want to go through the shit that I went through to get to where I'm at. Okay? And that's just the truth of it. And they're not willing to. But you know what they can do? I turned to Alec one day and I said, you know what, bro? I go, Alec, why the fuck aren't you building a house? I told him like that. And he goes, I don't know. He goes, I've been thinking about it. And I said, how much do you owe on your house right now? And he goes, $305,000. I said, how much do you pay for your house? And he goes, I paid $380,000. I said, you had it for about 3 years? He goes, yeah. And I go, if you go in, the house is probably worth $400,000, right? He says, you have about $100,000 in equity, give or take? And he said, yeah, probably about that. And I said, what if we just paid that house off in the next 12 months? I said, how would you be doing with your family? He goes, I'd be doing good. I said, you know, my brother-in-law, and I told him this story. I said, my brother-in-law, he's done 5 homes over the course of the time that I've known him. They've never had a mortgage payment in 20 years, and they live the same lifestyle that we do pretty much. They travel with their kids, they take them to sports all over the world. you know, to do soccer and basketball and everything else. And they just don't have the bills that the average person has. So you think about this from like an owner bill perspective and just a quality of life perspective, and you take all the wealth out of it, because most people can't even envision being millionaires for the most part, and some people can. For those that can and want to scale this, take advantage of it. For those of you guys that are looking at this from a lifestyle perspective, you're in the right place. Because I told Alec, I said, hey bro, why don't we just go in and why don't you find some land, and if you find land in this given area and you find 2 lots, I'll go ahead and I'll buy by you. And I'll build a house right by you, and let's get you building a house. And that first house, we underwrote it at about a $270,000 profit. And you guys will see how in just a little bit. And he just went out and executed, guys. He didn't even ask any questions. You know why? Because he's been behind the camera for the last 7 years. Does that make sense? And so I didn't have to tell him anything. He came with these lots. And we went out and we put offers on 3 lots, guys, on 3 lots. And we only got one of them tied up. One of them, the broker was a freaking dipshit. It been on the lot been for sale for 390 days. And I asked the broker, why haven't you sold it? And he didn't say, because I have cranial-anal inversion. You know what cranial-anal inversion is? That means you have your head so far up your ass, you can't smell head. Okay? So the broker had cranial-anal inversion. He had his head up his ass. And we could buy 1 lot. The other lot was just overpriced, couldn't come off it. So we just said, you know what? We'll tie up this lot. I went back out. 3 offers, guys. 3 offers. One Saturday morning, I told him, you put the lots, you ping me with the addresses. My wife and I will go eat breakfast at one of the restaurants in a small municipality, and we'll just swing by them. It took us 15 minutes to look at 3 lots, guys. I drove by all 3. I got out. I looked at the views. I said, cool. This lot's good. This one's good, but not as good. And this lot sucks. And then we went out to breakfast. I put in offers that next day, and then we went back. We put in 3 more offers a week later because we needed 1 more lot. Okay? I want you guys to follow this story here. I didn't go in and search for a lot and put in 1 bullshit offer, guys. And here's why. Because how much is land in any of these areas, guys, give or take?
100K an acre.
About 100K an acre?
200.
To 200? Okay. Now, when we go in, how much are the houses selling for predominantly in some of these areas? $1 million enough? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, and the reason I'm going through this in so much depth, guys, is I'm teaching you guys through these stories. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about here? Do you guys understand how I'm teaching you through these stories? Because you're going to go through the same shit that I'm talking about as I'm telling you. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And so the biggest thing is putting yourself in a position where you listen to my stories, because that story is going to become very relevant as you get out there and start doing this. Now, Alec doesn't have $200,000. The lots are all listed for $200,000 in this area, guys. They're all $200,000 lots, okay? Now, we didn't pay $200,000 for them, okay? So I want you guys to follow the story here. These lots are going to be valued at this percentage right here, okay? So let's take a look at it. Let's go in and see what these houses are selling for right here in the area, okay? So we go in, $1 million homes for sale in Middleton, Georgia. Or Milton, Georgia. $1 million homes for sale in Milton, Georgia. Okay, let's go into like Redfin or Zillow. Let's go into like Zillow to see if these houses. Watch the pretty ones, like $15 million homes, $12 million estates, $9 million, $8 million. No, that's a really great.
Median income's like 160 there.
Yeah, that's like what we're doing up in Kirkland, Washington. We're selling 1,500 square foot homes in Kirkland for $1.2 million. 1.4 at one point in time. Okay. Okay. This area is real well. Now, before we go into this, guys, I want you guys to understand this right here. You want to stay between about $700,000 to about 1.5 million. Okay. You want to stay right in here. Okay. Now, before we move on, how many of you guys can afford to build a $900,000 house? I want everybody to go like this. I want you all to go like this. Even if you think you can't, I want you to go like this. How many of you guys can build a $900,000 house and afford to do so? Go like this. Yeah, I want to see your hands. Yes, I want to see your hands going, yes. Okay, we got to break limiting beliefs here, guys. We got to break the bullshit. Okay? Yes, you can. The problem is, you guys will never talk anything more than conforming lending. That's the lending that you go out and retain when you go out and buy a house for yourself. They're looking at debt to income ratio, they're sitting back and looking at your finances, they're looking at your credit report, they're looking at that stuff. This is investment lending, okay? What they're looking at is this and this right here, okay? When I went out and built my first $60 million apartment complex, I didn't think I was capable of doing it either. I found out really quick that I was more qualified than the vast majority of their applicants, and I wasted a shit ton of time because I didn't know this. Does that make sense? And so understand, ladies and gentlemen, that every single person in here is capable of building a $900,000 house, provided you understand how banking works. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now, when we go in, ladies and gentlemen, let's say that we go into one of these areas. We find out it's a little bit more food, a little bit more within the business model that we're looking for. $900,000 to $1.2 million homes in Peachtree, Georgia. Peachtree, Georgia. Okay, this is more like it. Okay, we have a $998,000 home that's 2,300 square feet. So 2,300 square feet. I don't know if I'm gonna use that number. I'll make it a little bit bigger just to stress my business model a little bit. Okay, we got another one for 1.65. Oops, 1.65. That was 4,000 square feet. That's a little too big. We don't want to get in there. What we do, guys, is we go in and we build homes between 1,700 square feet to 3,500 square feet. Okay, that's abbreviation of square feet. The reason we stay here is that keeps you recession-proof. Because if you build what people need, not what they want, it keeps you from going bankrupt at a time when there's a market compression. There's a lot of affluency here in Georgia. There is no lack of money here in Georgia. Some of you guys will end up pushing this business model, but this is where we want to stay predominant. Why? Because this will keep you from ever going bankrupt. In 2008, ladies and gentlemen, at the time I was telling you guys was the most stressful time that I went through, we went in 2009, and we sold off 50 homes, and we fire sold them, super cheap. And I thought we had made $0 on it. Now, my dad did my accounting, because my dad was an accountant for 32 years, worked with me for 20. And when my dad came to me in January of 2010, he was doing our W-9s, and he was going in and doing our W-2s for our employees and our subcontractors. He said, and he was doing all our data entry for the year. He came to me and he said, Jerome, I hope you have some money set aside for taxes this year. You have a bill coming in about $800,000 in federal income taxes. And I said, Dad, there's no freaking way. I didn't make no money last year. And I felt like I did because I was throwing money away at $100,000 a month, throwing it at payments, what I call trash can money, because we were making payments on these retail centers that were all empty. Because it wasn't just the two that I was building. I had 11 other retail centers that I owned that we lost tenants in. So we were just throwing about $100,000 a month away in payments on these buildings. So to me, all my money that I made went to pay to the finance payments on these buildings. And I was throwing money away at a rate of 6 figures a month. So I told my dad, there's no way, we made no money last year. And he goes, no, you did. You made money on every single house. I said, no way. I said, it's not possible. We audited the books, and the lowest we made on any of those 50 homes was $48,000 on one home. The second lowest profitability that we made was on the second home, $52,000. Ladies and gentlemen, every other house, we made close to $70,000 or more on every single house at a time when Lehman Brothers collapsed, and it was what? A housing crisis. Yeah?
Yes.
It was the #1 worst housing crisis that we've ever had in America. Yet we made money friggin' selling houses. So in February of 2010, I called all my subcontractors and said, you know what? We're going to continue building, guys. We're just going to do it a little bit different. You're not going to tell me what you can, you're not going to bid the projects. I'm going to tell you what I can afford. And then you can tell me if you can do it for that or not. If you can, no problem. I said, but I'm going to keep all your families fed. I'm going to keep you fed. And we're going to keep the business going. None of us are going to make what we were making, but we're going to keep building houses. And we kept doing this, guys. This is what we kept doing right here. Okay? At that time, the median home was about, not the upper median home was about $500,000 at that time. The median home was like at $180,000 at that time. So we kept building $450,000 to $500,000 homes during that recession. That was this, what this is now, today. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now, when we go in and we look at these, we have a $1.15 million home, 1240 H Street in Peachtree City. That house is 2,600 square feet, 2,660 on that house, okay? So if we divide that square footage, and we do 2,660, you guys pull out your calculators, so I don't have to lose my page here. do $1,150,000 divided by 2,660 square feet. What's the price per square foot? $432 a square foot? That's good. Okay? Now, when you guys go in, when you're looking at areas, never pay more than 207. Remember, never go into an area and build in an area that's less than $275 per square foot based on comps. You won't make no money. Okay? That's your minimum on comps. Okay? Now, if you stay there, once you get to $300 a square foot plus, this is where it really gets fun. This is where you really make some money, guys. Right here. At over $300 a square foot. Okay? Now, when we go in, there's $995,000, just a little bit more realistic. There's a brand new home in 125 North Cove Drive in Peachtree. Put this in your calculators. $995,000, 2,681 square feet. Price per square foot. What is it? 301? 371? Okay. So let's stress my business model, guys. Let's say that houses are only selling for $320 a square foot. Can we do that? Let's go with $320 a square foot. And I'm going to put as much stress on my business model as possible. So we're going to say that if we have, let's say that this area is closer to about 2,600 square feet. So let's do 2,600 square foot home times our build cost. Now, we're going to times, this is going to be times $320 a square foot. Okay, this is our resale price. What is that price? 2,600 times 320. What is it?
$832,000.
832? Okay. $832,000. Okay? That's our resale price. Okay? Follow what I'm doing here, guys. This is your business model. This is what we've been doing for over 28 years. So when we go in, guys, this is the price the house is going to sell for. Okay? Now, according to the National Association of Home Builders, the average price per square foot that it costs to build a house is $141 a square foot nationwide. Now, we're building a lot nicer home than that. You can't build a house and sell it for $320 a square foot at $141 a square foot. It's going to cost you more. If you guys look at some of the houses that we're building, I'll show you like Kirkland, Washington. Let me give you guys an address up in Kirkland, Washington. We just finished this community back in November, and let me go in and just give you an address. We're building at a little bit higher price per square foot up in Kirkland, but I'll show you the quality of what we're building, okay? Let me give you the address. I have a list of them here. We have too many of them up there. I want you guys to look at this. I want you guys to look at the quality that we're building and the price per square foot that we're doing now, okay? That way you guys understand what you guys will be building. Okay, now let's go in. Okay. Google 8209. I'll put it right here. 8209 Northeast. 8209 Northeast 124th Street. And that's, we have a bunch of units in there. So 8209 Northeast 124th Street. Google that one. And I'm going to put another one up here. You guys can Google this one later. You guys can just zoom in on your cameras to get it. Another one that we sold in Albuquerque, an entirely different market, guys. An entirely different market. Okay? We go in, and this one was in a municipality called Placitas. It's right out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Still a very expensive place to live because Santa Fe is one of the most expensive places in the nation. They call this the Poor Santa Fe. 301 New Mexico for NM for New Mexico. 165. Okay? So there's two addresses here. Okay? Google this one right here and Google this one. This one's in Kirkland. And this one right here is in Placitas. Kirkland, Washington. It's right out of Seattle. It's 10 minutes from downtown Seattle. What's that?
Is it good? 980
Yeah, probably. I have no idea. I can't remember the damn addresses of all my projects. It was less than zip codes.
There's no street with Placitas?
That is the street. It's 301 New Mexico 165. It's New Mexico Highway 165. Okay?
Well, it's sold.
Yeah, that's sold. That's a real price. Those are real prices. Those are real ones. I mean, I have two houses that we're getting ready to list. My assistant was supposed to list them before I came here, so that you guys could see the ones that we just finished, but she didn't. She slept on me. So you guys can't see the brand new. These ones are just a few months ago. Okay? That makes sense?
Is it a multifamily home?
No, those are in Kirkland, Washington, they're cottage communities. So we would buy houses, we rip them down. We buy homes for $800 to $1 million. We level them or donate the house, and then we go in and put 4 to 6 homes on every single lot, depending on the size of the lot. It's called the condo code. It's what you would do right here in Atlanta. Because here in Atlanta, there's no land, guys, in the city. So everything that's being built here is being built vertical. Everything is 3-story lofts. So isn't it right here in Atlanta? That's where the profit is. And so you go in, you're gonna build in Atlanta, you're gonna build vertical and dense. Kirkland, there's no more land. It's right around Lake Washington, and there's no more land. So we have to literally go in, and the way I found that land is I went and knocked on doors. When I went in, and we started that our community up there, Ramez told me, he goes, Jerome, build it. I go, I'll only come over here and build if we do 20 units or more, because otherwise it's not worth my time. If I can't come in and make so much money, I said, why even do it here? And I said, we need 20. He goes, well, there's one problem. There's no land. I said, where do you get the land then? And he goes, we have to buy the houses. And I said, cool. And I go, let's knock on doors.
Right.
And I went and knocked on freaking doors. And he goes, which houses? I said, every fucking house. And I literally went to every fucking house. I knocked doors. People were making dinner, they had their kids, crying, and I knocked on the door. I'm like, hey, I go, I love your house. I didn't care if it was a piece of shit. I just tell them like that. I'd be like, hey, I love your house. And they'd be like, you're selling it? And I walked up and down every street. I started in sales, guys. I freaking walked up and down every street in Finn Hill and Juanita, down in Kirkland, Washington, until I got two like babies that night. And then over the course of like 30 days, I accumulated enough homes to purchase that we were able to do 24 units of single-family homes in that area. Some of them had to be condos to get more density that were attached, okay? We make more money with single units, so a lot of them, if you go in, are also single freestanding homes, most of them, okay? But just look at the interiors, look what we're building, look at the quality of what we're building, the trim outs of them, when you guys go in there. Because we're building these, the ones in Kirkland, labor is more expensive, we're building those in a very expensive market at about $185 a square foot. In New Mexico, that house cost me $155 a square foot, actually $154 and like 70 cents a square foot. But we'll just call it $155 a square foot to build that house, okay? That's our cost. Most of you guys will need a general contractor because you guys aren't contractors. Make sense? And so we will work with you guys to teach you guys how to retain general contractors to get the lending initially. But the goal is, at some point in time, and even now, is to just do an owner build. Because a lot of people sitting here today have the capabilities of taking down a build as the owner. And then you don't have to deal with the contractor. Does that make sense? And there's lending, like FHA lending, if you do an owner build, guys, where you have less than 5% down. Now, when you go in, guys, none of you guys in here have to look at this right now. And I'm going to show you why here in just a second. How many of you guys would love the bank to pay for the land for you? Okay? Because if we go in and we take, let's say that we're right in the middle of this and we pay 17.5% for the shit, let's just say we pay 20% for the land. So if we take $832,000 multiplied by 20%, how much is the land? What's the land price? 160, 166?
Yeah.
What is it?
166,400.
166? Okay, so the land price, let's say the land price is $166,000. Now, when you go into this area, guys, we don't pay more than 20% of the value of the home for the land. It doesn't matter what it's listed for. Remember that story I was telling you guys about Alec? Every lot in there was listed for $200,000. A couple of them have been reduced to $185. Okay? First one, we tied up at $170. Okay? Went in, negotiated, we tied it up at $170. The second lot, you have to listen to the story of the people. We call the broker, he sent me out to 3 more lots a week later. Okay? You guys okay if I finish this story? Yeah? Okay. A week later, one of the lots was horrible. 2 of the lots were good. I put in offers on all 3. So now we put in offers on 6 lots in less than a week. Make sense? Only had 1 tied up. Then we negotiated. I put the offer in for $140,000 because they told me that the owner died, the daughter inherited it, she lived across town, didn't know nothing about real estate, didn't know nothing about the lot, she just didn't know what to do with it, she didn't know how to get rid of it, she didn't know nothing about it. So I listened to the story. I was like, cool, I know what you can do. You can sell it to me for $140,000. you know? And the lot was probably the nicest of all of them. And we went in, they had it listed at 185 because they wanted to get rid of it. That was a good price. We offered them 140. They came back at 175. I went back at 150. And I said, and then they came back at like 170. And I came back at 150 again. I put best and final. And I would put another offer back in if they wanted to take it in, because it's never best and final, but that was best and final. And I was willing to go up to 170. And they go, okay, but you have to pay for the survey. We need a topo anyway. So I was like, okay, at $400. 150, guys. Okay? So when I tell you guys this, you go in, and this lot right here is listed for $200,000, 180, 195. You keep going, and you don't put an offer in on one lot, not two lots, not three lots, maybe like 5, might be 6, might be 7 lots. And the best lot is going to come with the best price too, in so many ways. But you have to keep digging. Does that make sense? And digging doesn't take very long unless you're scared shitless. And most of you guys are just scared because you've never done this before. And you're sitting back going, what if they accept my offer? They ain't going to accept your offer with perfect terms. If they do, come let me know, because I'll buy the freaking lot. Okay? And I'll build the damn house if they accept it under perfect terms. Okay? With a discounted price like that. Okay? Now, you go in, the lot's 166. Now, let's say that it's going to cost us, because we have to hire a contractor, 165 a square foot to go out and build that house. We take 2,600, and we multiply it times 165. What is 165 times 2,600, guys?
33.
What is it?
32.
No, 2,600 times 165.
429.
429? Okay. So the cost to build is 429?
Yes.
Okay. Do I still got you guys' attention?
Yes,
Am
sir.
I losing you guys? Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
You guys good? Do I need to pull out the electric probe? Beat the shit out of you? You guys okay? All right. Cool. This is a lot of shit, right? Like, I mean, it's a lot. How many of you guys thought you guys were going to come in and learn nothing today? Just network. How many of you guys are getting way more learning today than you thought you were going to bargain for? Okay? I mean, you guys ever come? Look, guys, when I do this, I don't do this education stuff to come in and just make money, guys. I do this stuff because you guys fund my big multifamily apartment complex. I'm doing a capital call next week. I have thousands of people in our community. When I go in and I do a capital call, I'll send one letter out to 2,000 people that have been in my community already making strong 6 figures building houses. So they need a tax deduction, and they're trying to resume into multifamily. So what ends up happening, guys, is I send out a letter to 2,100, 2,400 people that are in my community, and in 1 week I fund $4 million for a project to be able to go vertical on a $40, $50 million project. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the reason I do this is that this guy's making money in real estate. Why would he be doing this? That's why. Because I'm taking your guys' money after I help you guys make it, so that you guys are making returns and dividends on your money. But most of you guys don't have the money to invest in my deals right now. But because we've been doing this for 8 years, and I started this in 2018, we have over 2,000 people nationwide. So when I do a capital call, the people that are investing in my projects are those of you that are in my community that have been working with us for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You know, like I got a young lady, her name's Miranda, she's kicking ass, and that's one of her goals. She's been back in educating herself in the multifamily space. This young lady's been working with us for about 3.5 years. Last year, she built 4 homes, sold 2. She netted a little over $500,000. This year, she's building 6 homes. She'll sell at least 4 of the 6, and she'll net over $1 million this year. Problem is, she's going to need the multifamily to cost segregate, and she's going to need a little bit of ownership. So she wants to get in the multifamily space, but she doesn't have enough time between now and the end of the year to be able to cost segregate anything. So she'll invest in a project that we have, so that way she can take a sliver of equity out of that project and get the tax incentives off of that project. Does that make sense? Okay? That's why I do this, guys. So those of you guys know, why does he do this? I don't give a shit. I'll give you all information. All the information. Why do you give all that information for free? Because I don't give a fuck. I want you guys to fucking learn, right? Because the more money you make, the more money I make. If I teach you guys how to go out and make 200 grand off every bill, do you guys mind if I go out and do a $50 million development?
No.
Okay, that's what it's about, guys. You know why? Because the Bible told us so. Iron sharpens iron. And everything that we do, guys, is in benefit to help each other out. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, when we go in and we do this, ladies and gentlemen, we go in at $429,000. Okay? This right here is what you need from the bank, is these 2 things right here. Okay, what is 429 plus 166? That's 560, 80, 590, what is that, 595? 595? 595, okay. $595,000, okay? This is what we need from the bank, guys. Now, we're gonna have debt service on this. Now, our debt service on this is gonna be someplace in the neighborhood of about $25,000 to $30,000, okay? Now, we're also gonna have closing costs. What is 6% of, what am I supposed to be saying? 832, guys, 832. What is 6% of $832,000? What is it? What's 6% of 832,000, guys? Come on, wake up. Help me out, guys. 50.
49.9.
49.9? Okay, so 50,000? Thank you, guys. Okay, 50,000. Okay, now, if we add all of these up, what is the total here? We got 595 plus $80,000, so that's 675,000? 675? Yeah. 675? $675,000. Okay, this is our total cost. Subtract that from 830,000. What is it?
157.
$157,000, okay? That's your net out. That's a 6-month build, guys. How are you doing? How are you doing? Doing okay? On this build, guys, truth be told, like that house that you guys saw right there at 301 New Mexico 165, I made $298,000 net on that house. Net. I am the broker, so I didn't, I own that 4% closing costs, and we only had and then I'm the general contractor, and we don't have a bill, so we did really good. We make about $300,000 plus on every house that we build in New Mexico. I make about $400,000 net on every house we build up in Kirkland, Washington. Does that make sense? I only build 2 or 3 homes a year. Most of what I build is multifamily. The only reason I make Kirkland, Washington, guys, is because of Ramez. Ramez still works for Lincoln. He makes about $500,000 a year net. I'm not net, gross amount payroll. Working for Lincoln, he's one of their executives, but he's sharp as fuck. And that guy, I wanted to test him by doing some single family. Now we're gonna get ready to go vertical in downtown Seattle with 50-unit apartment complex right in downtown Seattle. Okay, and so I did it in lieu of testing him so that we can go in and build bigger shit together. Make sense? Okay, now, so when we go in, guys, you really make closer to about $200,000 on this. I'm putting downward stress on my business model, okay? And what I'm doing, the reason I'm doing that is I want to show you guys the contrary. Now, here's how we underwrite this stuff, okay? I'm gonna get rid of some of this up here. You guys got this written down up here? You guys got all that written down?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how many of you guys want to learn how the banks pay for this for us? How many of you guys want to learn that?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Where's my bag? You know what I did pull out of my bag? Give me 1 second, guys. Let me get out of my bag real quick. Because I need to get you guys a spreadsheet. I might have gotten carried away with the spray. I get carried away with everything. My wife tells me, you can't do anything like a normal human being. Everything you do, you're just extra. You do too much. And that's just me. My kids tell me, Dad, you're just so extra. Everything you do is extra. That's the word in my house. I'm extra. Everything I do with intensity. I can't do anything without intensity. I break everything. I'm accident. I do everything with intensity. Okay? But how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you guys something. This spreadsheet is gold, okay? And I'll say, this is an underwriting spreadsheet. You cannot get a bank loan without this spreadsheet, okay? When you go in for a loan for a house or multifamily, you cannot get a loan unless you have this spreadsheet filled out. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, you guys will get electronic versions of this spreadsheet and hard copies in Miami, September 27th and 28th, every single person, okay? Because it's an underwriting workshop. We're gonna go through this in depth. When we go in, guys, you're gonna have 2 spreadsheets that you're gonna do, okay? Now, these 2 spreadsheets, one of them is gonna be the retail cost to build, and the other one's gonna be your execution cost. Okay, the execution cost, we needed $595,000, $595. Okay, everything from your entitlements, okay? Because in order to get this money right here, you have to entitle the property. So you have to go through what's called the process of entitlements. The first thing you're gonna need is a survey, okay? And the survey and a topographic survey, okay? Number two, you're gonna need an architect. And then number three, you're also gonna need an engineer. You're gonna need, I think I jacked that up with too much stuff. Okay, you're gonna need a civil engineer, and you're gonna need a structural engineer. This is gonna cost you about $15,000, okay? That's what it's gonna cost you. That's what it's gonna cost you guys to build a house. No down payment, none of that stuff, the $15K, okay? Now, that $15K, we have bridge lenders, guys that can help you guys do that. It's $15K, about $15K to get all three of those things done, okay? That's what it's gonna take to get both permits, you're gonna get permits and money.
And that's all you're gonna need.
That's all you need, okay? That's all you need. And you need the right land, right? You need the right business model based on comps, right here. You have to do it based on what the banks are looking at. The bank's looking at the asset. The asset is only worth this much if the market tells you it's worth that much. You're gonna go in before the bank, you're gonna do your homework. You're not gonna hire your sister, your brother, your cousin, or some other dipshit realtor that needs a commission to do this stuff for you. You're gonna find a realtor in that area that knows that area, dominates that area, and you're gonna use that realtor because that realtor is gonna give you the same comps that the appraisal is gonna get from the bank when they go back to appraise the value of that home when you have a full set of architectural drawings. They have not shit to appraise without that right there. The way you get lending, that is your tangible asset, ladies and gentlemen. You know that fix and flip, that tangibility that you guys need? That is your tangibility right here. Without that, you can't get shit. The problem is that most of you guys will go to a bank before you have that. And you'll sit back and go, hey, I need a loan. I want to get a construction loan on a house. Can I get one? And they'll say, do you have a piece of land? You'll go, no. Do you have a set of prints? No. Do you have underwriting? No. And guess what the answer is?
No.
No. What the fuck are you building? What are you getting a loan on? Nothing. So the hardest thing you're going to have is to follow the process and be gullible enough to follow the process and trust the process because the process works. Make sense? You know all these people that raise their hand that are immigrants? They will become more successful faster than the vast majority of you guys that were born and raised in our U.S. education system. You know why? Because they learn from what they're taught and execute based on it, and they don't function on limited beliefs that we've been restricted with when you're raised through our U.S. education system. Does that make sense? Yes. And so the problem is the limited beliefs. These guys that are immigrants, like Ramez is Jordanian, they just come in and fucking execute. Period. You know? And everybody else is like, are you sure I'm going to be able to get a loan? Yes. Yes, I'm sure. Because they don't give a shit about you. You, Mr. and Mrs. 800 credit score, listen up. If you go in and the house is only trading for $600,000 in that area, guess what? Your your 800 credit score don't mean shit to the bank. They're not going to give you that loan. Does that make sense? It don't mean nothing to the bank because they don't care really about you. They want to know what you're going to pay the bill. But if you get hit by a Mack truck walking out that truck today, out of this building today, guess what? Does that asset hold the value that they can get their money back? Make sense?
Right.
Because we're all going to die one day. That's one of the only guarantees there is in life. Okay? So if they know that there's a possibility that you can die, they're not looking at you. They're looking at the asset itself, what its value is at, because they don't care about you. They want that value asset because that's how a bank functions. Yeah? That's it, guys. So we go in and we get these comps. So yes, this is all you need right here. You need the engineering, you need the architect, you need a civil engineer. Okay? Now, when we go in and we underwrite this, you guys, how many of you guys want to know what you're going to profit before you get started and before you turn dirt? How do you guys want to know how much you're going to profit before you go to the bank and you close on that dirt and the bank writes a check for that money? How do you guys want to know that? Okay? So then that's where your due diligence comes in. That's what we're going to go over on September 27th and 28th. We're going to go through every line item on this spreadsheet. We're going to do it twice. We're going to do it in the morning for residential. We're going to do it in the afternoon on the 27th for multifamily. And we're going to go through every single line item. Some of you guys will have your own projects, to put your own numbers in there, and some of you guys will come in without a project, and we'll use our numbers that you can plug and play and learn how to underwrite real estate in Miami on September 27th and 28th. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now, your first line item is your soft cost. Guys, it's gonna be your soft cost and your land. So you got your land, and these are your soft costs, guys. It's your architecture and engineering. Why do we put that in there? Because once we get funded from the bank, guess what the first draw is gonna be? My land and my $15,000 back that I put into that bill. I'm gonna put it right back into my pocket. You know why? Because the second I turn dirt on that first bill, guess what I'm doing with that $15,000?
Tying up some more land.
I'm going up and tying up more land, and I'm gonna go in and entitle another piece of land. So the second I'm done with this house right here, I got another set of permits in the pipeline, so I turn dirt on another house the second that other one sells. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now some of you guys are saying, well, how do you own the land? All you guys do, when you guys go in, you guys don't own the land, you tie up the land. Communication is key, ladies and gentlemen. Alec doesn't have $150,000 to buy that lot. He has $20,000 in his bank account, and he needs it to run his business. And one of the things I told him, I said, Alec, run your business lean, keep that $20,000 in there. You're gonna need about 15 grand to get through entitlements, I told him. Now, once he does that, we tied up the lot. The realtor continued asking him for proof of funds. I told him, just send him a survey back and say, when they ask for proof of funds, ask them for the survey. And then when they don't give you the survey, then you provide them with the survey. And then I told him, just don't worry, don't even answer the damn question. There's no rule in law that you have to show proof of funds. It's not a real estate requirement. It ain't a state fucking law that you have to show proof of funds. So I just tell him, she'll finally shut the fuck up. Just keep doing it. I told him, in fact, Alec, I'm gonna prove you that they will. I won't show proof of funds on my lot either, I told him. Okay? And guess what my realtor did? I can go through every email, like 6 times. Oh, can you guys send us proof of funds? Can you send me the survey, please? And then I go, can I just send proof of funds? And I ignore the email. Then, can you guys show me proof of funds? I ignore the next email. Hey, we need proof of funds. And I say, hey, did you guys get that survey yet? All of a sudden, we've had the lots tied up for 2 weeks. They stopped asking for the proof of funds. Why? Because it's in escrow and the lot's tied up. Legally, the lot's tied up. Proof of funds or no proof of funds, that lot, I control it now. Make sense? There's no requirement. There's no real estate laws that show they sign the escrow, they sign the documents. Those are legal documents. Does that make sense? Okay? And they stopped asking for Alex with proof of funds as well. Okay? And so you guys can do it your way. Okay? Or go get proof of funds. Go to a bank, go get a pre-qualified letter, or go to someone and show proof of funds. It's up to you guys. But if you don't have the funds, what do you show? He didn't have proof of funds to show. We didn't tell him. All we did is we just ignored him. Okay? They left him alone. I told him, watch this, guys. Because I tell people complicate stuff. And some of you guys say back, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. Okay? Don't do it. You know, go show proof of funds then. Okay? Or don't show proof of funds. There's no legality that requires you to show proof of funds. I usually show proof of funds because I have. But if I don't, I did it to set a point. Rick had told me, Rick goes, Jerome, you should document that and just show it to the community to show them like there is no requirement to show proof of funds. Okay? So we go in, we have land tied up, and now we go in and we start executing. So we want the bank to pay for the land. Now, we go in, we have our dirt work, we have our foundation, we have our framing package, we have our framing labor, we're gonna have plumbing, mechanical, electrical, we're gonna have our roof, we're gonna have our drywall, our insulation, our flooring, our cabinets, our trim out, our doors, windows, everything, all the way down. Guys, those numbers are gonna be $595. How do I know? Because you're gonna execute to those numbers before you get started. There's gonna be some numbers that are higher, some numbers that are lower. You're gonna get bids, you're gonna send this to the contractors, and you can get bids. If you hire a general contractor, part of his contractual agreement is gonna be the maximum amount that you're willing to pay him. The maximum amount you're willing to pay him is his profit plus this right here. Does that make sense? And that's included in there. So his GC fees will be right there on the bottom. Does that make sense? And you don't stop shopping this, you don't stop value engineering till you hit that number. Okay? Because you're going to get some drywall numbers that are $30,000. You're going to get some drywall numbers that are $22,000. You're going to get some roofing numbers that are $25,000. And you're going to get some roofing numbers that are $16,000. Because that's what I pay for my roofs on those homes, 16 grand. Just like on my multifamily. We were auditing our books, we're doing value engineering. I was getting roof prices for a 207,000 square foot apartment complex at $1.8 million, guys. You know how much I got the roof done for? 1.8 million. You know how much I got the roof done for, guys? $602,000. 602. You know why? That 4-inch insulation called out in there, I reduced it down to 1 inch. These guys are going in and pricing on commercial stuff. I knew how much these guys could do my residential stuff. All I did is about 4 residential crews, gave them the project, and I paid them all $4.50 a square foot. He went and bought himself a brand new Denali, the owner of that project. Shoot tooth, and he lifted it up, jacked up, put brand new rims on it. 2025 Ultimate. Bought himself a $100,000 truck. Okay, after he finished that roof. Okay, now, I thought it was a stupid purchase, but hey, you take my money, let him do it. That's why on the second day, we do our Build Wealth Day, we do Millionaire Workshop. Okay, now this one, guys, we're gonna underwrite this at $832,000, okay? It's gonna have the same line items. Nobody expects you to work for free, including the banks. No homeowner on this earth is walking into an $832,000 home for $595,000. Nobody. Make sense? There's not a person out there. So the bank doesn't expect you to either. So you're gonna underwrite this at 832. You're gonna have your soft costs, your land. You're gonna have all of your same expenses that you have on the other spreadsheet, but this one's gonna be marked up 15 to 20%. And you're gonna have management fees down here, and you're gonna have some development fees down here, and it's gonna add up to $832,000, okay? Now, if we go out and get a conventional loan, not even an FHA loan at 5% down, and they only give us 80% of the value of that asset as an owner build, what is 80% of 832, guys? 595? What is it? What's 832 times 80%?
664.
664? 665? Okay, 665. This is what the bank is willing to give you. How much do you need?
400.
595. What if they only give you 75%? What's 75% of that? What's 75% of 832,000? What is it? 624. 624? Okay, so it's 75%, 624, and 75%. Okay, now, here's what's cool, guys. This is what the bank's willing to give you. Okay? The bank is collateralizing a $832 asset. They have $210,000 in equity in there. How are they doing if you default on that house upon completion of it? How are they doing?
Great.
They have over $200,000 in equity, don't they? They're doing fine. Can they get their money back? Yes. Mr. and Mrs. 800 credit score, guess what? They don't give a shit about your credit. They care about the $200,000 in equity. Does that make sense? Okay, now listen, guys, here's the thing. When we go in to do this, how many of you guys are worried about the payments? The payments, okay? The payments are right here, guys. This is what's called interest reserve. That $30,000. You can go in and tell them, I want my proceed reduction, and I want to take care of that through what's called interest reserve. They're going to take a proceed reduction. This is your proceeds. And they're going to deduct the $30,000. They deduct the $30,000 even from the 75%. That's $595,000. How much do you need? 5. That has never worked out that perfect before. Okay, so I'm lucky on that. Never done that perfect. Usually we have a little bit extra. Especially my business model. But this is what's the phone. You never done. I always have a little bit left over. But the numbers are never the same. That's pretty damn close, right? So you take that $30,000 from the 624, you take it from here, you still have $635,000. You still have $635,000. They only give you 75%. You're able to go in and you're able to still build your house because this is what you need. Okay? And that's how you execute. That's how you get your land paid for. Okay. Now, how many of you guys want to play it safe and do a 450 build? You guys have 5 more minutes in you?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's play it safe. Let's do a $450,000 build. Okay? Fix and flippers, pay attention here. Okay? I'm going to leave all that here. I'm going to get rid of this stuff right here. I'm not going to spray it. Okay? Let's do that. Using a brand new eraser. Okay. All right, guys. So we go in let's do a $450,000 bill. Let's do this in green so we can see it. So we do a $450,000 resale bill, okay? Let's say that house is only 2,100 square feet instead of 2,600. D.R. Horton is selling a lot of homes that are 2,100 square feet for $450,000, aren't they? Okay, so let's do a 2,100 square foot house. Now, let's take 15% of the land, guys. Let's say that we take the lower end. Now, let's stress it the other way. Let's give these guys all the benefits of the doubt that they function to the best bill that they can at the best prices, right? I'm stressing the crap out of my business model to put downward leverage on my business model. Let's do the opposite on this one. Take 15% of the land, 450. What does the land cost?
67.5.
Land is what?
67.5.
67.5? Okay, so 67.5. We're not going to be able to pay 67.5 for it. Let's even take it down lower. Let's take it down. Let's say you go and find a lot for $60,000. Okay, let's say that we go in, we negotiate a lot for $60,000. Okay, now we go in, we take a $60,000 lot down. Now the national average is 141. Let's say that we go in and we build it for $6 less than the national average of 135 a square foot. That's going to take some management, guys. That's going to take these contractors going in, and you're going to have to go into every D.R. Horton subdivision and poach every damn employee and every subcontractor they have in there, because those are the only subcontractors that can afford to allow you to build at this price that you don't have to self-perform. So now let's go in and do 125 times $135 a square foot. We're going to build this thing for $30 a square foot less than the one we built at $800,000+. Okay? So we take 2,100 times 135. What is that number?
283.5.
What is it?
283.5.
283,500. Okay. Now we take 283,500, and now we have our closing. We have our debt service, and our debt service, let's call it about $20,000. Okay. And then we have our closing fees. 450,000 times 6%. What is it?
27.
27? 37. 27. Okay. Okay. So let's add this up, guys. Just do 684. Or just do 683 better. So we do 283, 60, 70, 80, 107. That's 390,000, right? 390? 392? Okay, $392,000. Subtract that from $450,000, guys. So you make your net is $58,000. Okay, very similar to what you would net in a fixed income. Some of you guys sit back going, yeah, playing it safe. That's not bad. $58,000. How many guys are doing for $58,000? Okay. Okay, one of you guys. Hang on. Let me ask that question again. Okay. Now we're going to go in. We're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to have two spreadsheets here, guys. I'm going to do two spreadsheets. Okay. One of them I'm going to underwrite $450,000. This one's for the bank. Okay. This one right here, we need to go in and we need these two things to be able to get our loan. So we need a total of $343,000, right? 343?
Yes.
No,
345,500.
343.
343.
Oh, 343,500.
Yeah, 343. Well, 343. Okay. 344. Okay. Okay. So we do the same underwriting. Okay. On here, go with the same line item, guys. Same line item for the bank. Okay. We go in. We need 344 to be able to do this bill. Now, if we go in and we do 80% of 450, what's that number? What's 80% of $450,000?
270.
What is it?
360.
360? What if they only give you 75%, like we did on the other one? How much is 75% of 450? 375? $337,000. Okay, so now, guys, we have a $7,000 difference. Okay, who pays for that $7,000 difference? You do. And now you have to go in and you look at your debt service. So now you do a reduction in debt service of $20,000. You're going to have to come out of pocket with $27,000 plus your entitlement fees for the process of it. You can't get them back because you can't afford to. So now you have another $10,000, $15,000 that you can't get back. So now it's $27,000, and you still have $15,000 tied up in that bill. So now you're going to go in, guys, and you have just like $40,000 in that bill, guess who has to come out of pocket with that $40,000? You do. Okay? How many of you guys have $40,000 sitting around?
Right.
Only here.
So now, how many of you guys want to play it safe and build a $450,000 house? Any hands? You still want it? A couple of you guys, you're like, oh, I'd rather do that? Okay. I won't tell you no, as long as you know what you're getting out of it, right? How many of you guys would rather build a $900,000 house? $850,000 house? Yeah. Guess what, guys? That's called investment lending. Does that make sense? Every single person is capable of doing it. You don't think you are because you don't understand banking. I know you are, because when I went and did my first $50 million bill, I was like, I told my wife every day, I was like, damn, I hope I get approved. Man, I hope I get this loan. I hope I get this loan. I hope I get this loan. I sat down with the underwriter closing table, and the underwriter, I asked him, I said, so what was the determining variables of the closing? And he said, well, your liquidity is great. They said, your cash flow is great. They didn't talk to me about debt equity, though you're stronger than about 90% of our borrowers that come in to get these loans. I said, no shit. And he said, yeah. And I said, no way. And I said, and I go, this is the biggest loan I've ever gotten. He said, he goes, really? He goes, why didn't you go into these earlier? And I said, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Okay? So understand, guys, at a time when I thought I was incapable of doing a $50 million project, my net worth was only about maybe, I don't know, 18 million at the time. I didn't think I could do a $50 million asset. You guys may sit back and go, look, I only own a $300,000 home, or I don't even own a home. You can go out and get lending, provided that you go through the process of entitlement, and you do your comps, and you entitle it based on this right here. Does that make sense? Okay, now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna go through this underwriting in Miami, okay? We sold out. We had 250 seats, guys. We don't market these events, okay? These events, I don't need you guys to go to Miami, the truth be told. We don't need you guys to go. You need to be there. Does that make sense? Okay, does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing, guys. We had 250 seats available. We sold out when we were in Florida a few weeks ago. So when we were down in Florida, we went to Jacksonville. We did the same thing. We went to Jacksonville. We went to Clearwater. We went to Miami, and we sold out of the 250 tickets, guys. A little more than 6 weeks from the event. And we knew we were coming back over here. So I called Esther, my assistant. I said, Esther, can you call the Hilton, and can you get a bigger room? We need to go from a 5,000 square foot room to a 7,000 square foot room, and let's increase the size. Let's get it to 300 people. Usually I limit it to 250, but I just couldn't say no to as many people that still wanted to go. So we opened up 50 rooms. They didn't give me the rooms. My staff, I want to kill them some days because they piss me off. I want to know how many rooms, how many we sell. They don't tell me how many tickets we have sold. Rick holds those tickets. He's holding them from me, and he doesn't let me know how many we've sold. So I don't know how far we are from 300. And he keeps ignoring me. I keep asking him for the ticket quantities, and I don't know. But I know that we're real close to 300, guys. We don't market these online. If you market these online for about 2 weeks, they'd all be gone. All the tickets, all 300. So you'll never see an ad for them. You'll never see an advertisement on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. You'll never see that. In order to get invited to go, you have to get off your ass, and you have to show up to one of these for free. Does that make sense? Because one thing that I know is that only 5% of the population will invest in themselves, and that includes time. So you coming out of your way to be here today allows me to qualify you to go to the event. Does that make sense? I won't invite anybody else. If you don't come to one of my live events, you can't go. So only people that have showed up to these live events, it's like a process of elimination. It's kind of like how we hire contractors. Make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So look, guys, I don't know if there's 10 tickets available. I don't know if there's 20 tickets available. I don't know if there's 25. All I know is this is one of the last meetups that we're doing before the event. I do know that my team will hold about 10 tickets for the night before the event for people in Miami. So once we get to about 290, they'll cut them off, okay? And the reason why, we might oversell by a handful of tickets for people that don't show, but we'll get about a 95 to 99% show-up rate because of what we're doing in Miami, guys. There's no event that does that. Now, when we did Nashville back in May, we had sold 200 tickets and we had 230 people show up. Okay, we ended up having to pull chairs around the side of the event. I just didn't have a heart to tell people they couldn't go. They flew in from all over the country with no ticket. And then they came in and we literally had a full table and there was people with chairs sitting along the sides. And I just didn't have a heart tell them to go away. So it may happen again, I wouldn't try it, because if the venue doesn't allow us and we need fire code, then I'll have to. Does that make sense? So all I tell you guys is just get your ticket to Miami. That your goal is to be in Miami. What's your goal? Be in Miami. Guys, it's an underwriting workshop. There's no speakers. I'm your speaker. That's it. The only other people that will speak are my students. People that sat in your chair a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I'll do a panel across the stage, and I let you guys blast them. They get scared. They're like, hey, I don't even know what to talk about. You know, the day of the event, they're like, what do I say, Jerome? What do I talk about? I said, you'll say nothing. If we let you guys hammer them on what they did wrong, how they got lending, what they did, what they shouldn't do, what they should have done, all the questions, you tell them all your mistakes, you tell them all the downfalls of the lack of attributes that you did not utilize and what mistakes you made. You tell them all the mistakes you made, and then tell them what you still netted on your bill after all that bullshit you went through. Does that make sense? And so the only other speaker you'll have outside of me is those guys. That makes sense, guys? Yeah? Makes sense. Okay, let me explain something to you guys. We're not putting stages together to motivate you guys. You guys don't need motivation. You know what you guys need? Is information. Okay? So when you guys leave Miami, guys, you guys will be ready to go out and get lending. Okay? We were just in Charlotte, North Carolina. No, we were in Raleigh before. And one of the young ladies that started in North Carolina, and I didn't even know this. She already has a multifamily deal that is going through entitlements right now. And who was the other young lady that had a bill, or was it a gentleman that was down in Charlotte?
Oh, Tim, he's got about 200K in profit already under.
Well, not that one. That was just going in for permits and stuff down in Charlotte.
So there's.
Why don't you guys tell me you guys a story? You guys are part of our community, and then I know Mrs. Figueroa is sitting back there as well. You know, yeah. If you guys want to share, let them know where you guys came out. You guys went to the first event you guys went to was in Nashville.
No,
Orlando.
Atlanta first in April, and then we went to, 1 month later, we went to Nashville.
So you have a mentorship, is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I think.
So, met Jerome in April, went to the last event that he held before Miami in Nashville, and then joined the program. Went through the 12 weeks of training, dedicated ourselves every morning, 3 hours in the beginning, then up to 2, and we finished. And about 2 weeks ago, we started our journey, acquiring funding for our first build, which we're ready to break ground next month.
Since May, guys. I didn't even know this. We were in Jacksonville. They drove out to Jacksonville. We all went and had dinner just like 2 weeks ago. When they walked through the door today, I was surprised. I just saw them in Jacksonville. I didn't know they were going to come up here. And so it was cool. Mrs. Figueroa? Tell me where.
I started in April this year. I've just been looking for land, and I'm looking forward to building my new house.
All right.
Today. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Ray. I started 8 months ago, and right now I have one lot type in Cumming, Georgia. So ready to start building.
What do you think that house is going to sell for?
1.2.
1.2 million?
Yeah.
What do we have it underwritten for your net profit on that $1.2 million bill?
It's around 220.
$220,000? Conservatively, guys, conservatively, 220. Put your hands together, please, Kevin. The reason they're able to do that is there's one thing in common these people have. They all went and got trained, guys. There's only, how many of you guys learned more in the last hour and a half than you guys thought you were going to learn coming here today? Okay? Imagine what you're going to get if you spend 16 hours with me. Does that make sense? I'll show you guys, because I teach in black and white, guys, and the middle is all gray. But you need that in the middle section to be in color. Does that make sense? I can only give you what's in black and white. I try to give you guys as much as I can while I'm up on this stage, but I don't have so much time to do it. And I know some of you guys, it's so overwhelming for some of you guys. You're sitting back going, I see your body face and eyeballs. And I'm sitting back going, come in, and then we video record this for you guys at the event. The only people that get the video recordings are you guys that attend the event. You guys get a full back office when you guys go to the events. You have all the spreadsheets, you guys have all the paperwork, all the PDFs. That book is filled with 350 pages worth of PDFs, electronic versions of that stuff. You can go out and be a straight building pin when you're done. You white label it, you put your logos on there, and you can go in and you can white label and go in and you have your business going. Does that make sense? You guys go and you get all those electronic copies because you're gonna need them at the event, you're gonna need them to go in and build, okay? You guys won't get through landing without that stuff. The reason that most builders, the reason I asked how many of you guys are already building homes before you get started, is because I'll always get 5 or 6 contractors raise their hand and say, why are you here? And they say, I want to build for myself, because they've been building for other people. The people are getting owner build loans to go out and build the homes, and then they hire a contractor to build it for them. Does that make sense? And the builder never learns the banking game. So the reason that seasoned veteran contractors come in and need this most is because they've been doing this shit for 20, 30 years, having to nurse emotions. Not only are they a builder, but they're a psychiatrist too. And most builders are ready to throw off a fucking roof because they're sick of listening and waiting for people to pick out tile colors, paint colors, and all this other bullshit. And then once they pick it out, they didn't talk to their wife about it, and then they make another decision, and it's your fault that they don't fucking communicate. And that's the damn honest truth, yes or no? Yep. And they're sick of the bullshit. I've never built for anybody, but I've only built spec my entire life. When I was building spec, people were like, you're freaking crazy, you have 50 homes that you have under construction, and not one of them are sold? 0. Not one of them. I built 100% of our homes spec. We built over 600 homes, guys. I've never had a buyer until the house is done. And we're still standing here, and we've profited from every single build. If that isn't documentation stuff, and I'm building in fucking Albuquerque, guys. The only people that know Albuquerque is from Breaking Bad and Bugs Bunny. You know? I'm like, shit, people say, oh, my area doesn't have that. I'm like, shit, I'm in Albuquerque. I always tell people, if I can get rich in Albuquerque, you can get rich fucking anywhere.
Right.
We've had no explosive growth, ever, in Albuquerque. So if this shit works in Albuquerque, I always tell people, it works really everywhere. Does that make sense? You guys are in Atlanta, Georgia, guys. There is no lack of money in this city. There's a lack of execution. There's a lack of motivation, but there is no lack of economics right here in Atlanta. This is one of the strongest economies in the nation. It's in the top 5 economies in the nation. I pulled up homes right here, guys. I haven't done that before. Every single home, when I pulled up on Redford, I said $1 million homes, and wherever the hell I did it, everything was 4.5, 6.5 million. There was like 30 of them on the first page. Guys, I don't do that anywhere. There's no lack of fluency. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no lack of opportunity here. Be smart. What's your goal? Miami, the 27th and 28th. If you want to bring a wife, a spouse, a child, 1 + 1 is $200. Okay? I do that because I do it for my wife. My wife doesn't run the business with me. She likes to go hang out, and she'll support me, but she won't pay full price for a ticket because she just feels like it's not worth her time. But it is worth her time to come and spend a couple $100, and she'll do it for that because she's like, I got to hang out with you the whole weekend. You know, it doesn't cost much because she feels like it's a waste of time and money for her because she doesn't really run the business, but she lands up enjoying it. And you end up getting the support of your spouse by having them there. Does that make sense? Or you guys can go in, you guys can have both go in and be the catalyst behind the business. There's a lot of that too. Okay? So the +1s are $200. Now, you guys got a link to your phones, guys. And that link, you can register right off that link to your phone at the top of the hour, at 4 o'clock. Or you can scan that QR code. Or you can, Vanna Brown over here, right here, Vanna Brown, my Puerto Rican brother from another mother. You guys can come and see Rick right up here to get your registration. Now, here's the thing, guys. We are 30 days away from going to Miami, okay? Now, how many of you guys are in a position where you want to have a project when you show up to Miami and you can underwrite your own numbers? Raise your hand, okay? Okay. Now, there's a commitment to doing that, okay? How many of you guys want my help doing it?
Yes.
Okay. I don't work for free, okay? And I won't work for people that don't invest in themselves for free either. You know why? Serious people invest in themselves. When I was back in 1992, when I got started in multi-level marketing, I paid $5,000 worth of water filters when there wasn't even water filtration and there wasn't even bottled waters on the shelf except for the radiators for your car. Evian was around. That was it. And I paid $5,000 back in 1992 to start a business, guys. My mentor told me, he said, you guys, you want my commitment, you have to invest in yourself. I have taken that with me since 1992. I will not work for somebody or with somebody unless you invest in you. Does that make sense? I don't need your money. You know what you need? You need help, right? And one of the biggest things, guys, is you are going to want help and assistance. Every single person in here is going to need help and assistance, yeah? Everybody, guys. And here's why. You guys have 2 more minutes in you? Just 2?
Yeah.
I promise, just 2 more. You guys got 2 more minutes?
Yes.
You guys want to see the multifamily part of this real quick?
Yes.
Okay, it takes me 2 minutes to underwrite and show you guys why we're doing multifamily. And why every single person in here has to get into the multifamily sector. Okay? Here's why, guys. Because we go in, and we do the multifamily stuff, guys. If you go out, we're going to teach you guys how to do the small stuff. Just like a little 6-unit, 8-unit, 10-unit deal. Every single person, this works exactly like the single family, by the way. Now, you're going to get about 75% loan to value, loan to cost on that construction loan. It works the exact same way. Now, it's a little different once you get into the institutional size assets over 100 units, but this works just like a home almost. Some slight differences, but we're going to underwrite this stuff. Now, 8 units based on the average rent nationwide. I know Atlanta's a little bit more expensive for rents, but average rents nationwide are about $1,750 a month. So based on a $1,750 a month rent, this property would be worth about $2.2 million based on the formula that I showed you guys earlier. Okay? Now, out of this $2.2 million, there's the new, what is it called? The big, beautiful bill. You guys see my Instagram and stuff? You guys see my Instagram lately? How many of you guys follow me on Instagram and YouTube? Okay. You guys see that Ferrari I just bought last week?
Yes.
You guys see that $500,000 Ferrari I just bought? I think it's better than shit, isn't it? Those yellow calipers and those old school. I got that thing out of Greensboro, Ferrari in Greensboro, North Carolina, because it had the old school brown Ferrari leather on the inside, and those racing seats. Like I hadn't seen them, they're all black leather. Those seats sold me on that car, those yellow calipers. So I had to ship all the way from Greensboro, North Carolina down to Albuquerque so that way I had that leather in that car. It was cool, okay? Did you guys see what I bought this week?
Yeah.
You guys see what I drove home on Monday? What did I drive home on Monday? It's a G-Wagon, yeah, it's the dual turbo G63. We paid $250,000 for that thing. That thing's badass. The red interior has a military grade color on it with the red calipers on it. Calipers sell me on those things. I don't know what it is. It's like the Hot Wheels. When you're a kid, you see those colored calipers, you're like, that thing's better than shit. I don't know what it is about the calipers. I was like, that's what sold me on it, was the calipers. And then we're buying a Ghost of a Rolls Royce. Why do I tell you this? I'm not telling you guys this to show off. I just don't have any bills that are completing this year because we re-permitted everything in 2024. So we pulled $160 million worth of development out of the ground in 2025. Nothing's going to be completed this year. So I have no freaking tax write-offs. So I'm buying cars because Donald Trump made the big, beautiful bill. I can write off 100% of these cars the second I buy them. So I'm buying them for $1 million worth of cars, so I at least have $1 million worth of tax write-off. That'll be worth like $400,000 in tax write-off. I'll drive the cars for free. When I sell those cars, I'll sell them for as much as I paid for them because of the kind of cars I bought. And I'll get 100% of my money back. I'll be able to enjoy them, maybe put 5,000, 10,000 miles on each of them, and then be able to go in and write them the tax write-off until I go in and do this. Because of the big, beautiful bill, I can't write off the land. Let's say the land is $300,000. I can still write off $1.9 million. And with a big, beautiful bill, what they say is you can take 100% tax write-off through what's called cost segregation and bonus depreciation in year 1. I don't have to depreciate it over time. I can take all of that in year 1. That means that I can take a $1.9 million tax write-off in year number 1. And that tax write-off never, ever expires until you have earned $1.9 million in net taxable revenue. You pay $0 in federal income taxes. Does that make sense? If you're a nurse and you made $120,000 last year and you did this under your LLC is a pass-through entity. You get 100% of what they took out of your W-2 employed job, you get 100% of your federal income tax money back as a tax return for being a nurse, a firefighter, a cop, or whatever the fuck you do. And you make this money right here, you pay $0 in income taxes. This asset will also hold about $700,000 in equity. If you want to sell it, you can sell it. But if you sell it, now you have a bigger tax liability. Or you just keep that equity tied up in it, and it earns you about $38,000 a year in passive income. Some people sit back and go, that's it, $38,000 a year? Fuck, you guys go work a government job for 30 years and get $38,000 fucking dollars a year for a government job. You do that shit in 6 months. Truth. That's the reality. Why do I do this? And why am I so passionate about this? Why am I so prudent about it? Because this is the shit that changed people's lives. And we've changed a lot of people's lives in our community, and I'm fucking proud of that. Does that make sense? And I'm gonna change a lot of you guys' lives that are sitting in here right now. You guys are gonna come to me later on, and I'll break in tears, like when I see their story, and I see these family, like the Torres family, and they wrote like, and I see these guys come from Venezuela, and 4 of them from Venezuela, and they come here as immigrants. They've been here for 2 years, guys. These guys take their first bill down and make $350,000. And I tell their story because they're going to be up on stage in Miami. Guys, these guys committed to a $30,000 mastermind to come in and hang with me for a year. Travel around the country, come to my home, and go and see my builds and travel around the country with me. We only allow 80 people a year to do that. We changed every single one of those 80 people. We changed their lives. Every fucking one of them. Okay? Every one of them, guys.